Well, this is a big one. Over the past couple of months, we have been conducting a watch tournament voted on by many of you to determine the single best watch from the mighty crown of the industry, Rolex. This was our biggest tournament to date, as we started with an initial field of over 250 watches. Yes, 250 watches. I believe the record before that was around 85 to 90 watches. So we are scaling things up quite considerably for Rolex. How we started was with that 250 watches as the initial field. We asked all of you to submit your top 35 from the total list of watches in the contemporary Rolex collection using a form. This involved us reverse engineering the entire Rolex catalog for every standard production model currently in existence and making it available for you all to vote on. With the top 64 that got the most amount of votes in the form submitted, advancing on to that field of 64. Since there were 64 watches that made the tournament, there are 4 sides of the bracket with a singular seed from 1 to 16 representing each region, which we will refer to as the North, South, East, and West regions. Now, looking at the lay of the land, we won't go through every single seed, but in the north side of the bracket, we have the Daytona Steel Panda sitting as the top seed, with the 16 seed being the Datejust 36mm Wimbledon White Rolazor Fluted Jubilee with Romans, with the release of the year from Rolex, the Land Dweller Platinum, also residing on this side of the bracket, sitting at the 11th seed. The south bracket is home to the GMT Master 2 Steel Pepsi Jubilee sitting on top as the 1 seed, with the Yachtmaster 42 White Gold Oyster representing the caboose at the 16th seed. 2 legends of the GMT Master 2 on Jubilee are poised to potentially go head to head unless an upset can take place, with the Batgirl sitting at the 2 seed in this region. The East has the Submariner, not the Submariner Date, but the Submariner at 1, and the Rolex Daytona Le Mans Yellow Gold sitting at 16. With the concept of gold dominating this region overall, with half of the models containing at least some precious metal in the case. And finally, we have the West region, with the Explorer 2 Polar leading the way. Surprising to see, I have to say so even myself as a fan of the collection. The 1908 White Gold Black Dial on leather sits at the 16th seed, and another Explorer 2 model also is going to reside in this region, with the Black Dial sitting at the 6th seed. Every collection from Rolex has representation in the final 64, except one, the Deep Sea. In order, the Daytona leads the way with the most watches at 12, making the 64, followed by the GMT Master 2 with 11. Next, the Datejust with 7 watches, followed by the Yachtmaster with 6, the Submariner with 5, the 1908, despite its age as a collection, also landing 5 in the 64. Then the Explorer has 4 collectively, that's including the Explorer 2 as well. And then the Skydweller gets 2, and then there are several collections with just 1 watch. That includes the Sea Dweller, the Air King, the Land Dweller, and even the Day-Date. And guys, before we jump into this tournament, I have an incredibly important announcement. This is something I'm so excited to present to all of you. This is the new evolution for content for us here, and this is going to be the launch of member content on TEDDYBaldassarre.com. We've invested months and months of time creating content. We have 10 to 15 things in motion, and we have our first set of pieces of content available to you. This is long form content that goes deeper in the weeds on watchmaking. And really the point of this is to, outside of an algorithm, allow us to go deeper into specific subjects that I find interesting, but also industry experts that can lead them. All this content is free to watch. All you have to do is just have a profile on TEDDYBaldassarre.com. It's really easy. Just fill out a couple questions, allows us to know more about you, and then ultimately what content you want to see from us. And you can check off a few different preferences there, and you're able to watch all the different content we have available, with different content coming out every single month. Just a couple of pieces I'll just call attention to start. We have a full 60-minute masterclass with Eric Wynn, one of the leaders of vintage watch collecting. He was the former heritage director for vintage watches at Christie's. He also runs Wynn Vintage. You may have seen a video that we had recently where we sat down and talked, but this goes everything that he has learned over 15 years plus doing this. What does he know about vintage collecting and where to look at? It's 60 minutes long. We also have another video with Robert Perlman. He's a space historian and renowned NASA expert, where he goes through the different watches worn in space, some of the considerations behind NASA and selecting watches, as well as looking ahead to see what could be worn in the future to the moon. We also have a video where we go behind the scenes in our business. So if you want to know more about this set, how I shoot the videos and how things are shot here, the editing process, where I work on a day-to-day basis, showing the warehouse, the photo studio, behind the scenes at the store, as well as an event. We have a full video going into detail about that. So this is going to be a place where we're going to continue to add a variety of different content. We have documentaries in the work, we have films that we're working on, and really trying to create a platform that enables us to talk about things on a deeper level. So if you're trying to further your educational journey into watches, this is where we want you to be able to go. So if this sounds interesting to you, really would appreciate the support. You can check out the link in the description to create a profile and check out some of the videos we already have available. So let's kick things off. Round one, the round of 64, and start going through the matchups. A lot of matchups to go through here, so let's kick it off. First, we have the 8 seed Submariner Date Bluesy going up against the Oyster Perpetual 36mm Tiffany, and the winner is the 9 seed, moving on 58% of the vote. Then we have the 8 seed Air King going up against the 9 seed, the Oyster Perpetual 41 Blue, and again, 9 seed moves on, 66% of the vote, pretty easy win for the 9 seed. Then we have the GMT Master 2 Ever Rose Rolazor Root Beer, 8 seed, going up against the 9 seed Datejust 36mm White Rolazor Fluted Bezel Jubilee Bracelet, green dial, stick markers. A lot of different characteristics there to define. But the 9 seed moves on just barely, 51% of the vote going that way. And then the final matchup, 8 versus the 9. So every 9 seed has won so far. We've had an upset every single time in this matchup series. Can it continue with this part of the bracket? We have the GMT Master 2 Ever Rose Root Beer as the 8 seed going up against the 9 seed, the GMT Master 2 Steel Sprite Jubilee, and the Sprite moves on. We have all the 9 seeds winning, this one getting 57% of the vote. So they weren't even really that close, other than just the one matchup here. All the 9 seeds move on to the next round. Then we have our 7 versus 10 seeds. We start out west, looking at the Datejust 41 White Rolazor Fluted Bezel Jubilee Bracelet Stick Markers versus the Daytona White Gold Black Dial on Oyster. And another upset. We have 5 upsets that start the tournament, 57% going in the way of the 10 seed. So we have another matchup, 7 versus 10, Yachtmaster 40 Releasium Slate Dial versus the 10 seed, the Oyster Perpetual 36 Blue. Can we keep the upset train going? This is where it ends. The 7 seed moves on. Yachtmaster, congratulations. Moving to the south, we have the Sky Dweller White Rolazor Green Dial Jubilee, our 7 seed, and then the 10 seed, the Datejust 41mm White Rolazor Fluted Bezel Jubilee Black Dial Stick Markers, and another upset, 54% going to the 10 seed. Then in the north side of the bracket, we have the Daytona White Gold Meteorite Ceramic on Oyster Flex, the 7 seed going up against the 10 seed, Datejust 36 White Rolazor Fluted Bezel Jubilee Bracelet, Black Dial Stick Markers, and the 7 seed moves on with 65% of the vote. Pretty easy win there. Now the 6 and 11 matchups, we have the West bracket, Explorer 2 Black Dial going up against the Yachtmaster 40 Ever Rose Black Oyster Flex. And an upset again, 51% going in favor of the 11 seed. So seeing some mix up here, even with some of the higher seeds going down as we start to move through the bracket. Moving along to the 6 seed in the East, we have the GMT Master 2 White Gold Pepsi going up against the 11 seed, the 1908 Yellow Gold, the Setimo Bracelet version. And this was the biggest win thus far in the tournament. The 6 seed moving on, 81% of the vote. In the South, we have the GMT Master 2 Steel Bruce Wayne on Oyster versus the 11 seed Yachtmaster 40 Releasium Blue. So the Yachtmaster won the previous matchup, not so lucky in this one. The GMT Master 2 Bruce Wayne on Oyster moves on. The 6 seed in the North, Daytona White Gold Blue Dial on Oyster going up against the 11 seed Land Dweller in Platinum. Can it win? The new kid on the block. Can it win against the 6 seed Daytona? No, it can't. Daytona moves on, 67% of the vote. Now the 5 versus the 12 matchup in the West, we have the Yachtmaster 42 RLX Titanium going up against the 12 seed, the Oyster Perpetual Green 41. And the 5 seed moves on, 57% of the vote. Congratulations, Yachtmaster, you're moving on. Yachtmaster faring pretty well in the first round. Next, we have the Datejust 41 White Rolazor Fluted Bezel Jubilee Bracelet Blue Dial Stick Markers, the 5 seed going up against the 12 seed, the Oyster Perpetual 36mm Black Dial, and the 5 seed moves on, 79% of the vote. Easy win there. Now the 5 seed in the South, we have the Daytona Yellow Gold Green Dial. This is the John Mayer 2.0. Then we have the Daytona White Gold Silver Dial Panda Oyster. So we have Daytona on Daytona, 12 seed versus the 5 seed, and somebody go check on John Mayer. The 12 seed moves on, another upset, getting 53% of the vote. And then for the final 5-12 matchup, we have the GMT Master 2 Steel Pepsi Oyster going up against the 12 seed, the Daytona Yellow Gold Black Ceramic Oyster Flex with that turquoise dial. And the winner is the 5 seed, the GMT Master 2 Pepsi on Oyster with 75% of the vote. The 4 versus 13 matchup, starting out west, we have the 1908 Platinum Leather Ice Blue Dial versus the 13 seed, the Daytona Yellow Gold Black Ceramic Oyster Flex, the Gold Panda. So between these two, 4 versus 13, we have a big upset here, 53% going to the 13 seed. So pretty remarkable there. Lower seed moving on to the next round. Started in the west, let's move to the east. We have the GMT Master 2 White Gold Pepsi Meteorite Dial going up against the 13 seed, the Oyster Perpetual 41mm black dial. And the 4 seed Pepsi moves on with 65% of the vote. Now we go to the south, we have the Explorer 40mm versus the 13 seed Datejust 41 White Rolazor Wimbledon dial. And we have another 13 seed moving on. The Wimbledon takes out the Explorer in round 1. That's pretty remarkable. The Explorer 40 goes home in the first round. Pretty crazy to see. Wimbledon moves on. Then in the north, we have more representation for the Explorer, this time in the Classic 36. That's the 4 seed going up against the 13 seed, the Daytona Yellow Gold. This is the Black Ceramic Meteorite Dial on Oyster Flex. And in another shocking turn of events, the Explorer loses again. So no standard Explorer moving on to the next round. This is crazy. Both the 4 seeds going down, being represented by the Explorer, and a lot of upsets in that series of matchups. Then we have the 3 seed in the west, the Submariner Date, the Starbucks edition, going up against the 1908, the 14 seed, Yellow Gold, White Dial on strap, and the Submariner Date moves on with 66% of the vote. Then the Submariner Date White Gold, the Cookie Monster, going up against the Yachtmaster 37 Releasium, and 74% of the votes go in way of the Cookie Monster. In the south, we have the GMT Master 2 Steel Batman on Oyster versus the Day Date 36 Yellow Gold Fluted Bezel Champagne with stick markers. And the 14 seed is going home, 68% going to the 3 seed. And then for our final 3 versus 14 matchup, we have the GMT Master 2 Steel Bruce Wayne on Jubilee versus the 14 seed, the Red Sea Dweller. And 83% going to the Bruce Wayne on Jubilee. Pretty easy win for Bruce Wayne there. Now the 2 versus the 15 matchups. In the west, we have the Daytona Steel Black versus the 15 seed, the Sky Dweller White Rolazor Black Dial on Oyster. An easy win for the Daytona, getting 76% of the vote. Another Daytona, the Platinum Edition, as the 2 seed in the next matchup, going up against the 15 seed, the Oyster Perpetual 36mm green. And an easy win again for the Daytona, getting 77% of the vote. Now we've seen a lot of GMT Masters thus far. The Batman moved on. What about the Batgirl? That's the number 2 seed in the south versus the 15 seed, the Oyster Perpetual 41 with the pistachio dial unveiled this year. And the winner goes to the 2nd seed, getting 77% of the vote as well. And then for the final matchup in the 2 versus 15s, we have the Submariner Date going up against the 15 seed, the 1908 White Gold Leather Strap with a white dial. In the 2 seed, Submariner Date moves on, 80% of the vote going in favor of that one. Now the 1 versus the 16 seed, the greatest separation in the seeds. So this is gonna be a tough one. Any upset's gonna happen here? I doubt it, but you never know. Let's take a look. So the west part of the bracket, we have the Explorer 2 Polar Dial. Still crazy that this one is a 1 seed for me. I don't know, maybe I'm wearing one on my wrist, but still, it's crazy to see this as a 1 seed. Going up against the 16 seed, the 1908 White Gold Leather Strap Black Dial. And the 1908 is going to lose out against that Explorer 2, getting 72% of the vote. Explorer 2 moves on. The next 1 versus 16, you have the Submariner going up against the Rolex Daytona Le Mans Yellow Gold, and the Submariner wins out with 61% of the vote. In the south, you have the GMT Master 2 Pepsi Jubilee going up against the Yachtmaster 42 White Gold on Oyster. And an easy win, 81% goes to the Pepsi Jubilee. And then for the final matchup, in round number 1, we have the Daytona Steel Panda 1 seed going up against the 16 seed, the Datejust 36 White Rolazor Fluted Bezel, Jubilee Bracelet, Wimbledon Dial with those Romans, and the 1 seed Daytona moves on, 80% of the vote. So after one round, we have 32 watches left, and the story here is parity. We saw a lot of upsets in this first round, 11 upsets to be exact. That is by far the most that we have ever seen, not just in a round, but really in one tournament in the history of doing these. So it's been intense. Can the upsets continue as we shift to the round of 32? To answer that, we go to the west side of the bracket. We have a 5-seed Yachtmaster 42 Rolex Titanium versus the Daytona Yellow Gold. This is the Gold Panda, the 13 seed. And the winner is the 13 seed moves on, 51% of the vote. The Yachtmaster goes home, and a 13 seed moves on to the round of 16. To give a sense of that, that's the 49th overall position, and that's being in the final 16. So well done out of the Gold Panda here. Now we move to a 5 versus a 4 in this next setup. We have the East 5th seed, the TEDDYUS 41 White Rolex Fluted Bezel Jubilee Blue Dial Stick Markings, going up against the 4 seed, the GMT Master 2 White Gold Pepsi Meteorite. And between these two, the TEDDYUS actually moving on. One of the GMT Master 2s going home, getting 54% of the vote, going in favor of the TEDDYUS 41. We have the TEDDYUS 41 White Rolex Fluted Jubilee. This is the Wimbledon versus the Daytona White Gold Silver Panda on Oyster. Between those two, Daytona moving on, advancing, 54% of the vote going in that direction. Then we have a 5 seed versus the 13 seed. We just saw what happened with a previous 5 seed going up against a 13 seed. Can it continue in the north side of the bracket? We have the GMT Master 2 Steel Pepsi on Oyster going up against the 13 seed, the Daytona Yellow Gold. This is the black ceramic meteorite dial on Oyster Flex. Can it move on? We have all of these upsets. No, the GMT Master puts it in its place, 70% of the vote going in that direction. Now the 11 seed versus the 3 seed in the west side of the bracket. You have the Yachtmaster 40mm Ever Rose Black Oyster Flex versus the west side bracket 3 seed, the Submariner Date Starbucks edition. And the Starbucks moves on, 67% of the vote going that way. Now we have the 6 seed in the East, the GMT Master 2 White Gold Pepsi Blue, going up against the 3 seed, the Submariner Date White Gold Cookie Monster. And this looks like the last time I'm gonna say Cookie Monster in this video. The GMT Master 2 White Gold 6 seed, moving on, 62% of the vote. Now the South, we have the 6 seed GMT Master 2 Steel Bruce Wayne on Oyster versus the 3 seed GMT Master 2 Steel Batman on Oyster. I like this matchup. You're getting 2 GMT Master 2s going up against each other, same bracelet type. Who's gonna win? The 3 seed moves on. We have 56% of the vote going to the Batman. In the north, we have the 6 seed Daytona White Gold Blue Dial on Oyster against the 3 seed GMT Master 2 Steel Bruce Wayne, this time on Jubilee. And the Jubilee Bruce Wayne moves on, 54% of the vote. Now we move to the next series of matchups. We have a 10 seed in the west, Daytona White Gold Black Dial on Oyster going up against a 2 seed, the Daytona Steel Black. And the 2 seed moves on, 67% of the vote. Then a 7 versus 10 matchup in the East. The Yachtmaster 40 Relesium Slate Dial going up against the 2 seed Daytona Ice Blue Platinum, and the Platinum moves on, 71% of the vote. In the South, we have the 10 seed TEDDYUS 41 White Rolex Fluted Bezel Jubilee Bracelet Black Dial Stick Markings going up against the south side of the brackets 2 seed, the GMT Master 2 Steel Batgirl Jubilee, 66%. Going in favor of the Batgirl, moving on. Then we have in the north, the 7 matchup versus the 2 matchup. The Daytona White Gold Meteorite Dial Ceramic Oyster Flex versus the 2 seed Submariner Date. And the Submariner Date just edging it out, 51% of the vote going for the 2 seed. So the 9s won all their matchups, so we have 9 versus 1 for these following 4. In the West, the Oyster Perpetual 36mm Tiffany Blue going up against the 1 seed in the West, the Explorer 2 Polar Dial. And the Polar Dial moves on, 66% of the vote going that way. Then the 9 seed in the East, the Oyster Perpetual 41mm Blue Dial going up against the 1 seed Submariner. Submariner moves on, 1 seed, 80% of the vote going in that direction. And then the 9 seed in the South, TEDDYUS 36mm White Rolex Fluted Bezel Jubilee Bracelet Green Dial Stick Markings going up against the 1 seed GMT Master 2 Steel Pepsi Jubilee. And the Pepsi Jubilee moves on, 72% of the vote. And for the final matchup of the round of 32, we have in the north the GMT Master 2 Sprite Jubilee versus the 1 seed Daytona Steel Panda, and the Steel Panda moves on, 79% of the vote. So now we get to the round of 16 and some interesting things as we look into the field. So we still have a 13 seed and a 12 seed that are in contention to win it all. Can they make the Cinderella story happen? We'll have to see. In terms of the mix in this round of 16, we have 6 GMT Master 2s that are going to advance on. That's the leading collection representing here in the final 16. 5 being Daytonas, and then you also have 3 Submariners, with the rest being single representations from the collections. So now the round of 16 matchups. Let's first look at the 3 seed in the West, the Submariner Date Starbucks, going up against the 2 seed, the Daytona Steel Black. 3 versus 2, close in seeds, but not close in the final result. The winner, 71%, going to the 2 seed Daytona Steel Black. Now we move to the East in the 6 seed, the GMT Master 2 White Gold Pepsi, going up against the 2 seed, the Daytona Ice Blue Platinum. And the Platinum just edges out. Another close victory, 51% leaning in the direction of the 2 seed. Then the 3 seed in the South, we have GMT Master 2 Batman on Oyster against the 2 seed, the GMT Master 2 Steel Batgirl Jubilee. I like this. You have the Jubilee versus the Oyster. This answers a larger, more broad question. What bracelet do you go for? 58% of the time, going for the Batgirl. 2 seed moving on. Then in the North, we have the 3 seed GMT Master 2 Bruce Wayne Jubilee going up against the 2 seed Submariner Date, the Mighty Sub. Can it continue on? No, it's going home. 2 seed, not gonna advance on. 3 seed moves on. 65% of the vote going to the 3 seed, the GMT Master 2 Bruce Wayne Jubilee. 13 seed, can the Cinderella story still continue? The Daytona Yellow Gold Black Ceramic Oyster Flex Gold Panda versus the 1 seed Explorer 2 Polar Dial. And the Polar Dial sends the Daytona home, 59% of the vote going in that direction. Pretty close, honestly, considering we had a 13 seed versus a 1 seed. Pretty tight matchup there, all things considered. Then we move to the East. We have the 5 seed going up against the 1 seed, the Datejust 41mm White Rolazor Fluted Bezel Jubilee Bracelet Blue Dial Stick Markings going up against the 1 seed, the Submariner. Now the Submariner going to advance on, 57% of the vote going there. And then we move to the South, the 12 seed. We have the Daytona White Gold Silver Panda on an Oyster going up against the 1 seed, the GMT Master 2 Steel Pepsi Jubilee. And the Pepsi Jubilee moves on, 68% of the vote. And our final matchup in the round of 16, the North 4 seed, the GMT Master 2 Steel Pepsi Oyster, going up against the 1 seed Daytona Steel Panda. And the Steel Panda moves on, 71% of the vote. And then there were only 8. This is when things get serious here. So we're looking at mostly high seeds. The whole Cinderella stories have, for the most part, died out. So we have 1 Submariner left, 1 Explorer 2 left, 3 GMT Masters, and then also 3 Daytonas to fill out the final 8. There can only be 1 winner, so let's look at the round of 8 to see what happens. In the West, we have the 2 seed Daytona Steel Black going up against the 1 seed Explorer 2 Polar. So 2 versus 1. This is going to be something consistent throughout the matchups. Can the 2 seed edge it out? And yes, it can. 63% of the vote going to the Daytona. The Explorer 2 goes home. Moving to the next matchup, 2 versus 1. In the East, we have the Daytona Ice Blue Platinum Dial going up against the 1 seed Submariner. And this one was close. 52% of the vote going to the Submariner, though. The 1 seed moves on. Now we have the 2 seed in the South going up against the 1 seed in the South, the GMT Master 2 Steel Batgirl Jubilee going up against the 1 seed GMT Master 2 Steel Pepsi Jubilee. So battle of the Jubilees. What is better? What do people like? Batgirl or Pepsi? The people have spoken. Pepsi's going to be the winner, 59% going to the 1 seed in the South. And then in the North, we have the GMT Master 2 Steel Bruce Wayne Jubilee, the 2 seed, going up against the 1 seed, the Daytona Steel Panda. And the Steel Panda moves on, 66% of the vote. And now we get to the final 4. So who's going to move on to the championship round in terms of the field here? We're looking at a Submariner, a GMT Master 2, and 2 Daytonas. The West and the North going head to head here. The 2 seed in the West, the Daytona Steel Black, against the 1 seed from the North, the Daytona Steel Panda. Ooh, Daytona on Daytona. Who's winning out? Easy win for the 1 seed, the Steel Panda Daytona, 75% of the vote. Now we have the number 1 seed in the South versus the number 1 seed in the East, the Submariner in the East, and in the South we have the GMT Master 2 Pepsi Jubilee, and the Pepsi Jubilee moves on, 58% of the vote going that way. So here we have it, the final 2 watches in the Rolex tournament. We had a really windy road to get to this final point. We started with over 250 watches to choose from. We had a lot of upsets throughout this tournament as well, but the final 2 watches are the watches that probably many would suspect. The GMT Master 2 Pepsi Jubilee versus the Rolex Steel Panda Daytona. So here it comes, the South Seed's representation of the 1 seed versus the 1 seed in the North. Who is going to win it all? GMT Master 2, Steel Pepsi Jubilee versus the Daytona, Steel Panda. Thousands and thousands of people voted. We started with such a robust field, the largest tournament in the history of this channel, but there can only be one winner, and the winner is Daytona Steel Panda, getting 57% of the vote. The Daytona goes all the way. People can talk all they want about the Daytona. They're tired of it. Well, the people have spoken. The Daytona is seen as the best watch from Rolex, according to all of you. So guys, this was a long one. This is not an unexpected result at the end, but I like this journey that we took to get to this final result. There was a lot of theater, a lot of parity in the early rounds, and there were so many watches here. I think that's the beauty of a brand like Rolex, is there's just so many iconic models to consider, and I like these different matchups, like Jubilee on Jubilee. I like the idea of different bezel options going up against different bezel options, different case sizes, and all of these considerations. So I enjoyed this. If you guys did, please let us know in the comments down below. Give this video a thumbs up. Really do appreciate that as well. Also, if you didn't like the result, leave a comment down below. Who do you think should have won this tournament? Or do you think that the rightful winner was crowned with the Panda Daytona? Also, if you want us to do more of these videos, leave a comment down below. What would be the next brand? Or do you want us to do brand? Do you want us to do genre of watch? How do you want us to proceed with these tournaments? I like doing these tournaments. These are a lot of work, so any positive encouragement in the comments would be greatly appreciated, but love to hear what you guys would like us to do next as well. Definitely check out TeddyBaldassarre.com. TeddyBaldassarre.com, full authorized dealer of over 30 brands. Every purchase from our website comes with quick and fast fulfillment, dedicated customer support, and a full factory warranty for all the products that we offer. In addition, if you're ever in the Cleveland, Ohio area, we'd love you to stop into our boutique and help you out with your next watch purchase. It allows us to keep doing what we're doing here, and we love what we do. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I'll see you all very soon.